Standby alert.
Lock gas coils in attack position. Accelerate to attack speed.
The subject of Star Wars. That could be talked about for many, many hours for me. When I was growing up, I loved watching the original movies, where it was actually just 3 movies that started off. Not talking about the prequels. But when I found out that there was an arcade game for Star Wars that came out, that was a 3D rail shooter, I was like, yes, I need to go find a place to play this. Now, the one I'm going to be talking about today is called Star Wars Trilogy Arcade, and it basically came out around 1998. It was a 3D rail shooter and was based on the original trilogy of the 3 Star Wars films. Now, would you believe me if I told you that the developer of this game was Sega? Would you believe me? Well, Sega did develop this game, and it also published it too alongside of LucasArts. And the composer of the music, well, was composed by one of the most important people in Star Wars, even to this day, John Williams. Now, the gameplay of this has 2 different play styles, and they all reenact from the 3 main Star Wars movies that came out around that day, consisting of 2 missions each, 2 boss battles against Darth Vader and Boba Fett. Normal gameplay involved the player moving a crosshair across a screen using the joystick and pressing the fire buttons atop the joystick to shoot. But then a special event button light would light up at certain points of the game, and when pressed, triggers an event to happen on screen. Well, also, the game puts the player in several key battles of the Star Wars films, with 1 mission for each original Star Wars film. Like, for example, there is also the Death Star battle in A New Hope. That's there, as well as different battles with Darth Vader. But when it comes to the game, of course, like I said, it's based around the original 3 Star Wars films. So, like, for example, in the A New Hope section of the game, you would basically do that Death Star battle, also known as the final battle of Yavin. Then when it comes to Empire Strikes Back, you would do the opening battle on Hoth, and Return of the Jedi, you would do a speeder bike scene that happened in Endor. Now, that's not the whole game, okay? That's just me just saying a few things that are actually in the game that I actually enjoy. Now, for this to be an arcade game that was a rail shooter and that was based on Star Wars, if it was to be re-released in this type of day and age, would it actually do good, or would it have aged bad? I think it would have aged a little bit good, because of the simple fact of how far the graphics were in the arcade version, and at the same time, even though a lot of it was first-person shoot style, if you catch my drift, I just think it would have aged much better than most Star Wars games we would even have to this day. I mean, I still will say to this day that Star Wars The Force Unleashed 1 and 2 are good games. No matter what some people say, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But Star Wars Trilogy Arcade is one of those games where if it was re-released in this day and age, it would get a whole lot of positive reception from it. I mean, even when this came out in 1998, this had a lot of positive reception, just because of how enhanced the graphics are and the different voice acting that's in it. The voice acting was actually pretty good. And plus, a lot of the different explosions to 3D models, the different things that it showed from the movies. If it was re-released, like I said, in this modern age, I think it would do positively well. I mean, it wouldn't go with every single person in the generation. Like I said, there's people these days that do play games like Call of Duty and things of that nature. But at the same time, I believe that this game would be loved by modern people. So if you ever one day are at an old school arcade center and you see Star Wars Trilogy Arcade, give it a shot, because it's an experience that you would actually never forget. You would never forget the experience that you would have with this game. So, Arcade Reloaded. I'll see you later.